before we get into the details of what happened in this case, let me tell you the reason we're here. And that's because a truck driver was driving an 18-wheeler going about 50 miles per hour, weighing 33,000 pounds. He sees a red light, doesn't slow down a bit. He enters the intersection and he slams into an SUV with a mom and her 2 kids in it. And now, more than 2 years later, 2 weeks before trial, they come in and they say, they tell the judge, we accept responsibility. But at the same time, they're saying this trucking company knows that their 18-wheeler broke a mom's skull in 7 different places. This trucking company also knows that their 18-wheeler tore blood vessels in mom's brain in 4 different places. And this trucking company still says mom is not going to suffer in the future that she didn't suffer any serious and permanent injuries. First thing is a trial is a contest of credibility. 2, it's a betrayal story. And 3, it's got to be a simple story. So now I've kind of given you what I keep in mind in crafting the opening statement. Here's our favorite thing. We go to a cross-country meet, and most of the time it's just our family. The rest of the kids on the team, for whatever reason, their families don't always show up. And I don't know if you've ever seen a cross-country course, but let's say it starts here. Usually the start and the finish line are the same place. And you go something like this, and it's 2 or 3 miles long. So we're there, and then the gun goes off. We're cheering Alex on. He takes off running, and then we take a shortcut, and we run. My wife has her running shoes on. She gets to this location, and we cheer him on. And then as he keeps going, we cut off, and we cheer him on. And then we run back, taking a shortcut back to the finish line, and cheer him on. Before this crash took place, that's what we would do. Okay. And she was already walking because her dream was to be able to, not that same speed as Alex, was to go out for a jog with him. My wife, the mom of my kids, who left that day to go 2 days before school started to buy school supplies. The woman that left that morning is not the same woman who came home a few months later from the hospital. The bus has a video on it, a video camera. And I'm going to play this video for you, and you're going to see the crash. And what you're going to be seeing is that bus was parked facing southbound. So you will see the truck, the red semi, coming towards you. You will see the SUV going from your left to your right, going from east to west in front of you. Okay. And we're going to be looking out the windshield of the bus. See, the light is green for southbound traffic. The truck is coming at you is red. The light has turned to orange. Now it's red. The truck is coming. Here comes the SUV. Bam, impact number 1. It gets knocked over. Here's the bus, and you can see the windshield wiper. Bam, impact number 2. It bounces off. You can see the mom and dad. There's a mom and Alex. Their heads are slumped. Here comes the SUV. It crosses the median. There's a car parked there. Bam, impact number 3. Then it ricochets, and there's the bank building, and impact number 4. And you can see the light is still red.
Since we had the video, we saw what happened. Why do you think it was so important to get an exemplar side of the SUV in court?
Okay, so that's a really good question. Why go to all this trouble? remember, the most persuasive parts of something that happens are the senses, that what these senses experience. It's not just visual, it's smell. That's a very powerful one. It's touch, it's feeling, it's a variety of things. And so what I do on brain injury cases is, and others, is I like to bring in the car, because when they get to see it and they get to feel it and they get to touch the density of the metal by pounding on it, when it's undamaged like this one is, that's why I had the door moved so you could see, you know, the structural inside. When we then later show the damage to the occupant's car, client's car, you then get a different sense as to what the picture of the damage looks like compared to what it was before. Now remember, the entire time you're doing these cases, it's all about the story. You've heard that before, but the best way to tell the story is to tell the story of change. And so I'm constantly wanting to do comparisons in contrast between the world they had and the world that they have now. And those two are often violent in the differences. And so this makes it tactile and real, and I have the expert use it, etc.
Police report says this: as Cardenas passed along the left side of vehicle number 4, she failed to bring vehicle number 1 to a complete stop and entered the intersection while facing a red phase traffic signal. So they said mom was at fault, that she had the red light, because when the cops arrived there, mom was knocked unconscious. Alex was knocked unconscious. Other factual information, it talks about that there's a video from a tire shop across the roadway, but that didn't show the color of the traffic lights in question. But then guess what? It says right here, the last part, the one at the bottom, it says Officer Miller was told that the bus was equipped with a video camera that may or may not have captured parts of this traffic collision. To date, their video footage has not been received for review. So what do? We do our due diligence, right? So we went and got that videotape.
You got really fortunate that that car got careened into that bus, because if it hadn't, that bus probably would have just drove away and you would have never seen that video.
The defense decided to attack us from the get-go. And Joey, I don't know if you remember this. In voir dire, the defense lawyer gets up and says, what do you folks think of the plaintiffs trying to, let's see, I'm trying to remember what word he used, manufacture a case with all these experts, and you're going to hear that they paid them a ton of money, you know. And Joey's like hitting me in the ribs, you know, and saying, hey, he just opened the door and saying, now we can talk about why we had to spend all this money and why we needed to know the speeds, and why the reason we kept spending it, because it wasn't until 2 weeks before trial that they admitted liability. So the jury needs to know why they had to do, our crash reconstructionists, our biomechanics and all that had to spend so much time, because they waited until the last minute to admit liability. Had they done that and allowed us to download the black box to the truck, we wouldn't have had to spend all this money. Joey, does that ring a bell with you? That was
Yes, yeah, and part of it was telling the story in a way that would put a lot of pressure on the defense in their opening to exaggerate. And so we wrote and put pieces in the openings so that the defense would have to get up and try and exaggerate or overcompensate. And I said, watch, when we do that, they're going to make a mistake. They always do, every time. And when that happens, hopefully we can capitalize on getting some of these bad facts in. Well, it turned out better than we could have imagined.